Hello, everyone. I love that you're here waiting for me. That's so awesome. I love when people are on time. And in fact, when they're early, it's fabulous. All right. So, welcome, welcome. Who is ready for this? I'm so excited. Now, you might have guessed what we're talking about today. We are talking about what is our best investment. So I'm going to introduce myself. Oh, Linda, I'm so glad we figured this out. So good. Thank you for asking for help getting on here. All right. So today's topic is what is our best investment? So we're going to be talking about that. Before I do, I want to first introduce myself. My name is Dara Thomason. I am the life coach for quilters. I help quilters lose weight and really start living a life that they've always actually, some of you haven't even dreamed that you could. And I wanted to shout out some of my clients because this week I was keeping a list of things that my clients were doing that they were not able to do before they started this work with me. So one of my clients has always wanted to go kayaking, but she was never able to because she literally she exceeded the weight limit. And so she's been working with me now. She started, she actually was introduced to me last summer. I had a free training, and she hired me in September, and we've been working with each other. She's lost almost 40 pounds, and she's now kayaking. She's buying clothes at stores that she never could buy clothes at. She's having family interactions that she never had before. Like I just have this list of all these things that my clients are doing now because of the work they do with me. It's very exciting. Now, I even have a client on here right now who joined my program in October. She has kept up. She's now at 52 pounds. So fun. So that is what I do. So I'm a certified life coach, weight and life coach, and I have all of my work. All my clients are quilters, and so we speak all the same language, and it's really, really fun. So in order to get the most out of this webinar, I'm going to ask you to take your phone and turn it on silent. I'm going to ask you to turn the notifications off of your computer so you can really focus on me and what we're talking about. I highly recommend you have a pen and journal so it's all in one place and you can take notes, and whatever you think about or it's intriguing, just make a note of it. Now remember, this is being recorded right now. Let's make sure it is. And it will be sent in the replay on your email, but I also put it on my YouTube channel. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I recommend you do that. And I have all of my past trainings on there, and it is amazing. So let's take a guess. What is your best investment? Is it your house? Is it retirement money? Is it your family? Vacation for family memories? Is it gold, like investing in those things? So in the chat, what do you think is your very best investment? I want to hear it. Oh, there we go. Yourself. Okay, so good. Yourself. This brain of ours. Now, one of the problems that's right, me, myself. How often do you think it's selfish to be working on yourself? How many messages did we get that it's selfish? Your health is also very important. And your health, so one of the things that I want to say is that our mental and physical health has never been at an all-time low. Things are opening up with the pandemic. Things are starting to open up, but like truly our society, we have never been at such an all-time low for our mental and physical health. And so one of the reasons this is happening is because we haven't been able to put the focus on taking care of ourselves. So I'm going to talk about what we want. So for example, we want to live a life of our dreams. How many of you still dream? Like, when's the last time you actually dreamed? Okay. We want to feel at ease in our bodies. I remember just feeling so much of like, I just want to feel at ease in my body. That was the big thing. I want to feel good enough. How many of us want to feel good enough? What about independently happy? I just want to be happy. I don't want to worry what other people think of me. So as I'm reading these, I want you to think like check, check, check. So this is what we want. So I want you to ask yourself, why doesn't this happen? So where are you in this scale? 1 being really low and 10 being high. Like, where are you struggling? Do you feel like you care more about what you think than what other people think? Are you feeling at ease in your body? Are you living a life of your dreams? Are you at ease? Oh, I said that one already. Do you feel good enough? And what does that look like? Okay. So in this of what we want, I want you to think, where are you in that life of where you want to be? So where you want to be, but where you are right now. And what is the difference? What would be, and what would have to change for you to be in that? Okay. So possible reasons why this is happening. I was brainstorming and I was also using a lot of knowledge that I have as I've been coaching clients for over a year. So a lot of people think you don't have the right genes. So it's like, if I had better genes, I would be different. I could be different. Okay. I used to literally measure my wrists compared to my sisters. And I like tried to prove that I couldn't be a certain weight. Okay. So genes. Some of us don't think we have the right education. Well, if I would have been more educated, if I would have had different opportunities, if I had a different upbringing, if I had parents that were more communicative, or if I had parents or a family that was more supportive, or whatever that is, if I had more opportunities, okay? So if we didn't have the right circumstances or the right situations, that's holding us back, okay? Then you maybe possible reasons for you not living the life that you want is you made decisions that limit you. So you're like, I can't go back. I can't do a do-over. I'm done. It's over. Don't have any time left. That boat has sailed. Because you don't have blank, you can't have blank. Because I don't have a certain amount of retirement fund, or because I don't have that kind of husband, or because I don't have that kind of sewing machine, because I don't have a long arm, right? Because I don't have grandchildren or married children or children or a husband or whatever it is, I can't have more joy, or I can't be relaxed, or I can't whatever. Okay. Do you see how that can happen? And I want to encourage you to fill in the blanks for yourself. Certain things are out of our control. So this one is super interesting, and we're going to go into this a little bit further, but like even something like COVID. So even though there were things that were out of our control, like we had rules, we couldn't travel, or we couldn't go to you couldn't go to retreats, or we couldn't, whatever it was, then it's like, I couldn't be happy. All right. Others' opinions. How often do we let others' opinions influence our life and what's going on for us? Okay. Timelines. So not enough time, or I don't have time to fix or change something. So I just want you to get curious of how, like, what's falling for you, what's resonating for you in this. Sometimes I hate doing webinars because I can't see your faces. I love when I do the pop-up groups because I can see all your faces. So it makes me a little sad. And there's so many amazing women that are here today. So thank you for being here. And your future self, your current self is thanking you for being here, because now you're getting so much more awareness. Okay. So now this looks like your life feels out of control. How many of you feel like your life is out of control? It's like out of my hands. This is just the way it is. It's like grin and bear it. I can barely wait for the nighttime to come so I can just go to bed again, hoping that maybe tomorrow something might change, but probably not. Okay. So how many of you have kind of those thoughts? You actually start feeling limited on your pleasure, how much pleasure or how much joy you can have in your life. It's like, well, I can't really be that happy. I wasn't that successful in my career, or my kids aren't really doing what I want them to be. So I guess I can't really, have that much joy, right? Because when we're putting our ability to have joy in other people's hands, it's very limiting. So we spend a lot of time waiting for circumstances to change before life can change. So I think it's been really interesting thinking about COVID, because there was definitely certain restrictions that COVID gave, but really it was this even more of a mirror to our own lives to see what's really going on. I was listening to a podcast this morning about boredom, and she was talking about what do people do when they're bored. And she talked about some people don't even allow themselves to get bored because they can't even cope with that. So that's super interesting thing to think about. Then you never live the life you want. You're unable to take full responsibility for your life, and you no longer dream or entertain that life could change. So I asked that previously. How many of you don't even dream anymore? Okay. So you know what the actual problem is? I'm going to tell you. You ready? The actual problem is you've been hiding from yourself. So if you spend a lot of time on social media, with food, thinking about food, eating food, going to food for joy, to food for comfort, going to food for your entertainment. Like if that's what you do for a good time, is go get in the car and drive to a certain place and buy the ice cream and all of that. You're spending a lot of time, pardon me, thinking about that, planning food, like that's hiding from yourself. Okay. Also, shopping. You're doing a lot of shopping. One of the things I want you to think about is how much time do you spend consuming? So how much time do you spend consuming videos, tutorials, being on social media, looking at Pinterest, your email, Instagram, Facebook? So that's consuming, which isn't a problem, but where the problem is, if you are not producing, if you're not contributing, if you're not creating, you are really off balance. So if you're consuming, but not giving back and not creating and not making like outputting, either it's thoughts or quilts or writing or fantasizing or dreaming, like being active in your brain rather than just consuming all the time, you're really off balance. So that off balance, and the problem is the food and the social media and the shopping, those create false pleasure. And then you're now even more off balance because you're not having that healthy balance of like those natural pleasures, or what's the word I'm thinking of? Delayed gratification, like actually having true pleasure. So you can see another reason why you're having this problem is because you're really off balance. Okay. So the other reason that you're having a problem, and the reason why I'm saying that your brain is your best investment, yourself, your body, your brain, like I put mental and physical health in the same spectrum, because that's what it's affecting, is you give power to others and circumstances. So for example, if you bring a quilt to the guild and you're sharing it, and you're proud of it and you're happy that you did it, and someone makes a negative comment, then you're not allowing yourself to have the joy and the pleasure. Or even, so some of my women, they won't have as much success as other people. So let's say one lady has lost 50 pounds, another lady's lost 30 pounds in the same amount of time. They get really fixated on, I'm not good enough, or I haven't done it as well as so-and-so. But then they are taken away from their own success, because we are all very different. Some of us have insulin resistance. So we have had a much longer time where this insulin has been building up, and it's in our organs. It's like seeped in our body. It's like a sponge, right? You've just got so much insulin in all of these organs. It's going to take longer for some people to rid themselves of that. And we're all different. And so they step away from their own ability to be amazed at themselves and their own growth. Okay. So that's the other one. Comparison is the thief of joy. So that's another reason why we can be unhappy. I now call these the triple P. So people pleasing. So people pleasing is worrying more about what other people think than you think of yourself. And the problem is, you think that if you can have other people be happy, then you can be happy. And that actually brings me up to here. So the problem is, when you're hiding from yourself, you are not developing your own brain. But you know what you are developing? You're developing your ability to guess at what other people think of you. So I like to compare this to a moving target. It's like, I'm not sure. Maybe that person's going to think this about me if I can do this. And that person's going to think about me if I do this. If I do that block of the month and I do a good job, then I'm going to get approval from that person. Right? So now you're really busy doing a really good job at this block of the month. Meanwhile, you're not making good dinners for yourself, or you're staying up late for yourself. You're comparing yourself. Like, you're not taking care of your own mental health. And so now you might get like 10 comments. And so you get excited about those 10 comments, but those don't last long and they're fleeting. Okay. So you're putting yourself at risk. So that is one of the dangers. And so when we don't develop our own brain and our own ability to get our own back, then we're just really good at this guessing game. And then the other thing that brings up is, like, we kind of become a chameleon. Like, we become something for someone, and then we have to become someone for someone else. And so that's another way of hiding, right? We never truly just get to be ourselves, because we're constantly trying to decide, like, who am I going to be and how am I going to get this? Another just an analogy that I was hearing today in this same podcast, and she was talking about a peach. And she said how this is kind of a funny analogy. Like, the peach, not everyone's going to like a peach. Some people like apples, but the peach is a peach, right? And so the peach can't change to be an apple, so other people will like that. The peach is going to be, even if it's like delicious and juicy and amazing and plump and, ripe, so like it's amazing. But some people don't like peaches, and that's okay. The peach isn't going to go try to be an apple. The peach is like, you know what? There's more apples. There's more, like, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. I think more people like apples, and apples have a longer storage life. Apples right? They can grow more places, but we are who we are. But if we're always trying to be like apples or grapes or whatever, even when we're a peach, there's nothing wrong with being the peach. Okay. It's kind of a fun analogy. It kind of stuck in my mind. So I like to describe things in different ways too, like, because we're all so different, right? So I don't know. How does that resonate with you? Yeah. Okay. So how often do you feel like you're a peach, and you're a beautiful peach, and it's like you're juicy and you were, ripened on the vine, on the vine and the tree with the sun, but you still don't feel like that's good enough? You don't have to say it in the chat, but I like this to be a little more interactive, right? Such a good analogy. But the problem is, if you are not spending time with being your most peachiest peach, you're never going to feel good enough. Like apples have all the fun. My friend's an apple and she seems really happy. So I should just be more like an apple. You try to divide the pit, all of that. It's awful. Okay. So how much do you spend here? And really just like even taking like 20 seconds right now. How often do you feel like that? Like, I'm a really beautiful peach, but no one likes me, or I'm not good enough, or whatever that is. Okay. Just give yourself a little bit of love right now. It's okay. You're human. And really, sometimes I forget how new these concepts are. And so I get really excited. I have so much content in my group. I'm constantly like helping and sharing. And so sometimes it just is important just to take a minute and just be like, wow, this is pretty amazing what she's talking about. So I want you to really just think about this for a minute. How do you hide from yourself? In what ways? And how has that affected and influenced your life? So it's a good idea just to, I always want people to like me, so I guess I'm a peach. Yeah. But like, this is the most beautiful part, is own that you're a peach. And I'm going to teach you some tools today, and really love that you're a peach and really see how amazing you really are. Okay. All right. So this is called the triple P, and I talk about this in my program. So people pleasing is worrying more about what other people think than you. Procrastination is so much about fear. It's just, I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I can do that. It's really uncomfortable. Those feelings, I just don't want to feel those negative emotions. I don't want to fail, all of that. Okay. And then perfectionism. And perfectionism is, I'm a peach, I'm a peach. Cal. Yes, you are, Nancy. You're the greatest peach. And she lives in a very beautiful place that grows a lot of peaches. So I am the queen. I am the president of the Perfection Recovery Program. And so for all of you who join my program and those of you who are in my program, I have an incredible 12-step recovery program that is a game changer. So these all have to do with caring more about what others think than what you think. Now, the actual problem is you stay stuck. So you don't evolve your brain, your skills, or your capacity. So I do want to tell you that if you do not work on your brain, you are literally operating the same way as you did when you were 8. So if you don't consciously decide, this is how I make decisions, or this is how I filter people or relationships, or how I spend my time, you are literally using the same thought processes as you did when you were 8 or 9 or 10. A lot of my women are in their 60s. And a lot of them talk about, well, my mom always said this, or I always just did this. And they have literally been doing the same thing since they were 6. And I'll say, how long has it been since you lived with your mom? So it's okay. I want you to know that you're like totally normal, because I see this all the time. All right. So who wants a solution? Right? Who wants a solution? The solution is, and this is something you could put on your fridge. Everything we do in life is because we want to feel a certain way. So everything you do, everything that motivates you, all the problems that I talked about there, it's because you want to feel a certain way. So what are your desired emotions? So here's this big banquet table, okay? So this giant banquet table on a smorgasbord. And it has all the different foods, different feelings, okay? So there's like disgust, there's envy, there's happiness, there's joy, there's thrill, there's elation, fascination, like excitement, enthusiasm, like there's all the emotions, okay? They're all there. So where do you, so when you think about this question, where are your desires, what are the emotions you want to feel? So even right now, just take 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes, just like 20 seconds, and write down your favorite emotions. Okay? So write down your favorite emotions. Now, I want you to write down what are your top 3 emotions that you feel. What would you say are your top 3 emotions? And be honest with that, with yourself and with me. So what are the top 3 emotions that you are feeling right now, or that you feel on a daily basis? Okay. So now, do you like those top 3 feelings? And why do you think you have those top 3 feelings? If you want to share them in the chat, I would love to see them. So you can share what are your desired emotions in the chat. And then you can also share what are the top 3 emotions you feel on a daily basis. Okay, so you can write those down. So now I want you to ask yourself, where do our feelings come from? How do we get feelings? So I'm going to teach you a little science lesson right now. You ready? So that's the brain. That is the brain. I'll just put that. All right. So here's our brain. Okay. So our brain, Nancy's so smart. So our thought creates a feeling. Okay. So a feeling is just literally, they're just vibrations. Okay. So they're just vibrations in our body so when we have a thought, it creates a feeling then releases a hormone or chemicals based on our thoughts. Okay. So that happens. So if I said to you, you're late, what happens? Your heart starts to beat, you might sweat a little bit, you're ready to go because you have to get into gear, you have to get going, you gotta grab your stuff, you gotta do the things, and you gotta get out that door. Okay. So we have a thought that creates a feeling. That feeling then it causes a vibration in our body. So here are the vibrations. These are sensations that are created. So we can have a tightening, we can have a kind of a buzz, we can feel heat, tenseness, queasiness, throbbing. These are all sensations. They're just it's just like vibrations in our body. Like feelings are like they let us know what's going on. It's so helpful. But the thing that happens is we can have dopamine and serotonin. Those feel really nice. You're like, ooh, I like those. But then we can have things like cortisol and adrenaline, and they feel kind of ucky. I was going to say yucky and icky. I sometimes make up my own words. Oh, here we go. Sad, disappointed, would like to feel happy, needed. Yeah. Uncomfortable, joy, compassionate, confident, accomplished. Right. So it's very interesting. And so everything we do, like our main motivator is a feeling. Isn't that amazing? Everything we do in life is because we want to feel a certain way. So we are motivated by feelings. Isn't that interesting? Have you ever thought of it that way before? So it's so fascinating when we think, oh, wait a minute. I even had this conversation with my 16-year-old. We were talking about food and bodies, and we were talking about comfort food. And I said, well, is it actually comfort? Like, she loves lasagna and garlic bread. I don't eat either one of those things. And she said, well, Mom, it's comfort food. And I said, really? Do you like how it feels afterwards? Do you like the after effects of it? Right? So we just need to start being honest with ourselves, because if everything we do in life is because we want to feel a certain way, what is the problem with that? Okay, so we're getting there. So we know now our thoughts create our feelings. So now the origin of our feelings comes from our thoughts. And when we have a thought, it releases chemicals, hormones or chemicals, into our body. And then from that thought creates a feeling. That feeling can create chemicals like gives us serotonin, dopamine, cortisol, or adrenaline. And then we have all these sensations. Now, this is super fascinating. So these sensations are simply tremors within us that help us steer us to either we're going to survive or we're going to thrive. So I can't remember, probably 3 weeks ago, I did a master class just like today on cortisol. And I talked about how cortisol really impacts our body and the advantages and disadvantages. Oh, I was talking about anxiety. Why am I yawning? It's crazy. Linda, I know you're going to say, Dara, I'm worried about you. It's okay. I'm okay. So let's go to, so now we know that feelings literally are just like, they're really helpful to us. Because if there's a weird guy that's following us on the road, we have a feeling of anxiety, of fear, and we have a response, and we get adrenaline going. And so we can like move quickly, and we can think, and we can just go for it, right? If we hear a baby crying in the middle of the night, we have emotion, and we will get out of bed and we'll take care of that. A couple of deep breaths. Thank you, Linda. I know I get a little excited, don't I, Linda? I could just hear you thinking. Okay, so if everything we do in life is because we want to feel a certain way, and our feelings originated from our thoughts, how often are you aware of the thoughts you're having? All right, because we have two parts to our brain. We have more than two, but we have the lower brain that is very much automatic pilot. So one time we moved 1 kilometer from one house to another house, and we moved, basically it was like so it was 1 kilometer away. So we would turn in to our neighborhood in that same way, and our old house you had to keep going and then turn left into the cul-de-sac. Our new house, you had to turn right, go down the road, turn right again, and then right into the cul-de-sac. So they were very similar. And so my automatic pilot, right, that lower brain that's going to like take habits, take patterns of behavior and says, oh, we do this all the time. Let's put this in our operating brain and just go like brushing our teeth now. Okay. So when we brush our teeth, when we first learned, it took a lot of effort and thinking, like outside, inside, top, back, move from one to the other. Like it took a lot of concentration, and our brain was like, oh, this is a pattern. She repeats this pattern all the time. Let's internalize it. And then so now I'm pretty sure it's pretty safe to say that so many of us can brush our teeth. We can have conversations. We can listen to music. We can do all sorts of things. It's second nature. Same with driving cars. Okay. Those are chopping vegetables. Those are all things that used to take a lot of concentration, has put in our lower brain, and now it's super simple. So that has helped us. That helps us save energy, which is great. But when it comes to our thinking, did you know that same thing happens? We have thought patterns. The brain is like, oh, she feels bad about herself, and she goes and eats chocolate, and then we get a little dopamine hit. Done. So now it's like just like ingrained in our body, feels bad, compares herself, has a different, a negative emotion. Oh, chocolate, that always seems to help her. Or, oh, I know, we just go on social media for a while and we just like scroll for a while and then it kind of numbs things and then we can move forward. So we have these like operating manuals we didn't even realize we were like ingraining in us. And so we have these unconscious things that are happening that don't serve us. So even yesterday, I was coaching one of my clients and she hasn't eaten cookies in a long time. And something is going on that's very stressful in her life. And she's feeling kind of out of control. And so she's starting to eat cookies again. She's like, what's going on? And she's been working, like she's been like not eating sugar and flour for a long time unless it's been planned. And like, she's like, what's going on for me? I said, well, what's happening? She's like, oh, I don't know. And then we just got curious. And then she realized that she had been putting off some things, making some decisions that are going to impact her. And so she's been eating the cookies and even eating some bread. Okay. But it took a little bit of work for me to help her. And in fact, it was when we found the emotion that was driving her, then she could be in her body and find that emotion. Then she started realizing the thought that caused that emotion. So we're bringing it to our consciousness, okay? So sometimes it's not very easy to find that thought, and that's okay. And that's one of the things that I teach my clients to do, and it's so helpful, okay? The other part about this is that we need to learn how to separate a circumstance from a thought, okay? So I'm going to give you an example of this. So for example, I'm just going to sit down and read my example here. So our brains believe that feelings are caused by things outside of us. All right. Someone says something mean and we feel bad. See, remember how I talked about like you feel sad, you just go eat chocolate? We kind of think that that's just like how things go. Just like automatic response. I don't really have any control over this. This is just happening to me. All right. So we win the game and we feel excited. It feels like this is true, but only because we are not paying attention to the thing that happens between the outside event and the feeling we feel, which is our thoughts. Okay. So we have just been living automatic pilot for a long time. We just make assumptions on things. So for example, someone says you did that wrong. Have you ever been to a quilting retreat where someone's like, why did you do that? Or in a class? Okay, so people just say words and then you think, I should have done it better. Okay. And it just feels like this is just like how it's supposed to be. So then, of course, because you have the thought, I should have done it better, then you feel ashamed. But the interesting thing is when someone says something critical, and then when we think a thought like, I should have done it better, then we feel ashamed. Sometimes the thought is not in our conscious awareness, but it didn't have that thought happening someplace. We would not feel bad. If someone says you don't like your blue hair, but you don't have blue hair, you would be confused, but not hurt. So I want to hear your thoughts about that. Another reason why I'm sitting down is because I'm cold and I've got my little quilt here with my nice Minky backing. Who loves Minky? I'm such a fan of Minky. Oh my goodness. Love the Minky. It's so warm. So the difference of someone saying, oh, I really like your purple hair. I mean, some of you might have purple hair. My mother-in-law, she loves having purple hair. But if you don't have purple hair, you wouldn't think twice, would you? You'd be like, that's ridiculous. I don't have purple hair. What's she talking about? But if someone said you did that wrong, do you stop and think that what they said is actually not even true? Or is there a part of you that believes, yeah, I didn't do that right. I'm deficient. I'm not so good. And that feels terrible. Okay. So that feels like you create shame. So that's where the issue is. Okay. All right. So I wanted to talk a little bit. So we have to learn how to separate circumstances from our thoughts. So that is something that I teach in my program that I can help you with. So what I want to say is, we need to find the thought. We need to separate the circumstances from the thought. We become more intentional. Life isn't happening to you. So you literally be able to be the driver of your life. Now, I wanted to just, because I talked about investment, I did want to talk a little bit about money right now. And because your brain really, truly is your best investment. Now, I have a question for you. What do you think are your 2 highest expenses? It's going to like kind of shift your brain a little bit, okay? But I want you to think, what are the 2 highest expenses you have in your life? I want you to put them in the chat. Some of you might think like, no, I don't want to put it in the chat because I don't want to be wrong and then I'm going to feel something. Remember, we're just going to, what do you think are your 2 highest expenses? One time my husband, there we go, shopping and electricity, caregivers, yeah. Okay, so life is different for everyone, but this is, okay. Yeah, what is ferric? Oh, fabric. I'm like, what's ferric? I don't know what that is. Okay. So I'm gonna kind of expand your mind a little bit. So taxes, that's the second highest expense. So taxes, you have to pay taxes on your income, and then you pay taxes when you buy something. So now you're paying taxes on the things you've already taken taxes away from the income that you've made. Then I put taxes, but yeah, to fabric, right? Oh, you almost put taxes, but you changed it to fabric. Well, I mean, some people spend a lot of money on fabric. So taxes are, you pay taxes on the income that you make, and then you pay taxes when you buy something, and then you pay taxes on the property tax of your house. Almost put taxes, but changed it to fabric, trying to be funny. You guys are fun. I love this, right? So that's the thing. So that's your second. Now, who wants to take a guess at what is the actually highest expense? And it's not fabric. And it's not caregivers. It's not shopping. It's not electricity. And it's not insurance. Lack of action. Now, hear me out on this one. So I got this from my coach. So I graduated from the life coach school. So I'm a certified weight and life coach. And she was talking about this and it really blew my mind. And I remember she taught this to me in 2019 and I revisited it for this webinar. And she said, the lack of action is our fear. So what does our fear of taking action cost us? So when I talked about everything we do in life is because we want to feel a certain way, if we aren't allowing ourselves, like if we're hiding from ourselves, what are we doing? We are not living the dreams. We're not living the life. We're not contributing in this world the way that we could. So she had some questions that I thought were super interesting. So for example, she's like, when we don't invest in relationships, what happens? And so I have 5 children and I invested a lot of time and energy in raising my kids. And particularly my oldest son, I spent a lot of time with him, teaching him to work, teaching him all the things. And that time investment, that action that I took with him paid off in dividends because he then was a huge example to the rest of my kids. And he set so much like the bar and such an example to the rest of my, like it's amazing. And so now that he's gone, he just left 2 weeks ago or a week ago. It's not as bad as I thought because he really did that investment that I had with him has really paying off now. And then, so think about when you're watching Netflix or when you're scrolling social media, what is that costing you emotionally? So when you look at your stash, for example, and you keep buying more and more fabric and you're not producing all the things, you're really off balance. So your lack of action, how much is that costing you in this mental part? In your ability to trust yourself, in your ability to love yourself, in your ability to try to honor yourself and to appreciate yourself. Okay. What about when you don't invest, you don't have the value of the life that you want? So I thought this was really interesting as we think about this idea of investing in your brain in such a powerful way. And when you don't invest in your brain, what happens because of that? Okay. All right. So what happens when you do this work, when you really, truly value your brain above everything else? And one of the things that I have, it's very interesting, even in my own clients who invest in I have a 12-week program, and I'm actually going to be sharing about my mastermind today, which it's brand new. I feel like I just birthed a baby. It's so exciting. It's been so much in the planning, in the works, and I'm thrilled to present it to you. But I see that even within my clients who invest, if they are consuming Dara over and over and over and over, and they're not really working through all of the the tools and they're exercising them and they're doing it, it's like I've given you a whole bunch of beautiful fabric and I've given you rotary cutters and rulers and all the things, but if you're not actually producing, you're not making the quilts, you're still having a deficit. You're still not really having the impact that could be possible for you. And I love my clients. Of course, I love them all. And, they can totally decide like how much they want to put that in. But I promise that when you do this work and so that cost of lack of action is our highest cost. And it is so amazing when I can see what happens when you have that balance of consuming and producing. And it is such a beautiful analogy as quilters because we do have this real difference. Okay. So the skills developed and results you can expect when you do this work is you become the driver of your life because you are aware. You're now conscious. You have feelings, don't need to be avoided. You can feel all the feelings, they're just vibrations. It's not a problem. You decide on purpose what you want. Making decisions is one of the most powerful things you can do. What you think of you is the most important and it's not selfish. So now you realize that when you focus on you, everyone benefits. My kids, I have never spent more money on myself, becoming certified and doing different programs that I do to develop my skills and abilities. And my kids say, Mom, you are always a good mom. You're just getting better and better. I'm showing up so much more powerfully. I'm no longer feeling taken advantage of. I don't feel resentment so much. When I do have temper tantrums, they don't last very long and I don't have them as often. Because I'm investing in me and this beautiful brain of mine, I show up so much more powerfully for everyone around me. My business grows, my clients have more success, all of it. Okay. And this one I love them all. But when I talked about because I don't have this, then I can't have this. So many of us believe that our life is so conditional. So it's like, I can't be happy unless I've lost that weight. Guess what? You need to learn to be happy now at the weight that you are and accept the weight you are. If you don't accept that, it's not going to change. You have to learn to accept the life you have now before you can really change. So you're going to have freedom because you're not going to be living conditionally. All right, so that's today's class. So thank you for being here. All right, so the next part of this, the next 9 minutes, I'm going to tell you about my mastermind. I don't have the solidified name yet, but it's called Mastering Your Ability. So I'm calling it right now, Mastering Your Ability to Love Yourself Thin, to continue to love yourself thin. So this program is available to those who have either have worked with me one-on-one or who have gone through my 3-month Love Yourself Thin program. So if you haven't done either one of those, pay attention, because my next Love Yourself Thin program will start in the end of July. And so you could be working on that, because basically what this does is this is what you can look forward to. So because it's the first time I'm offering it, it's actually $6,000 for 7 months. Because the month of August, we are going to be doing a reading list, and I have some pre-recorded classes that you will be doing, but we are going to be starting this the end of June, so June 28th, and we are going to go through all of July, and then you'll have some pre-recorded classes in August with the reading list. But you also will be the month of August. Every Monday you will have class with Dana Palmer. She is a specialist in body, mind healing. She also graduated from the Life Coach School, but she has other certifications in more of a holistic approach. And she really is amazing. And so she's going to be offering a class called Your Body Is Not Your Enemy. So that class in August will be for those who belong to my Love Yourself Thin 12-week program and to my masterminders. Okay, so that is going to be really amazing class. So she is really quite amazing. So what my work is for the master class is, so when we talk about today, we are talking about our thoughts create a feeling, and then the feeling is actually the juice, the fuel for our actions and the circumstance. And so that is what I would be working with in my program, is learning to differentiate between a circumstance and a thought. And then that thought then creates that feeling, of course, and then that feeling generates all of our actions. And so my work that we're doing in this mastermind is that basically you can just fill in the blank. You can write anything in a result line, within reason, of course. We have to work up to it, but you can create it. And I am such a great example of what's possible. A year ago today, I think I had 8 clients. And in this past year, I've built, generated, I don't know exactly how much in that time, approximately almost $500,000 in my business. I have created group programs, pop-up groups, my one-on-one clients. Like, I have created an incredible amount of results for women in their lives. So this change actually doesn't have to be as slow as some people think it is. It can happen very quickly. And that's actually a belief that I have about myself, is that change happens very, very quickly, especially when I apply the tools. So this would be a good time to ask any questions that you have, okay? So let me just talk a little bit more about the Loving Yourself Thin program. So Mondays, you will have complimentary content, okay? So currently I've been teaching my Love Yourself Perfection Recovery program. That will be archived. Oh, I have so much content with that. So past courses that I've offered. I love content. I love teaching. I was an elementary school teacher for 10 years. I love building curriculum. I love workshops and making worksheets and creating amazing ideas and helping you really dive deeper into these things. So that is going, so you're going to be joining with all of my other clients every Monday. And I'm just going to be having so much amazing work for you to really make this beautiful brain of yours even more beautiful. And then Wednesdays, I'm going to be teaching you the process. So I'm going to be taking, all along the way, we are going to increase our knowledge of science with our brains. So I'm going to help you understand how the brain science actually reinforces this change. So for someone like me, who is a mom of 5 kids who lives on an island, who can create the kind of business that I've created and had the kind of success, it's because I have applied the brain science that I've learned, because life coaching really is learning to think about our thinking. And when we understand how we think and what are the reactions in our body, all of those, we can really open up to the possibility. You know how when they say we don't even know, haven't grasped the capacity of our brain, we don't use all of our brain capacity? That's what I'm talking about. So we are going to have a scientific component to this that is going to be much higher level than what I've taught in the past, because you now are ready. I don't feed my baby steak. So my ladies who are ready for this mastermind, which by the way, I am capping at 15, they will be able to digest more and more of it. And because of the reading list, and because of the work that we've done already, their brains are ready for more. Okay. So I'm going to teach you more brain science. I'm going to reinforce the tools and take them to the next level. We're going to build skills and understanding. So I have my process, which I'm really looking forward to releasing to the ladies. And in fact, if you are interested, have new worksheets. Yes, everything will be different. There'll be all new curriculum. And I do have a form that will actually lay out all of the months and exactly what we're doing. And there is a video that's going to be coming. My virtual assistant started creating it. And yesterday I made a video, and anyways, I started to cry when I watched the video. It's so beautiful. I'm so excited about the results that these women will be getting. And so then on Friday, we will be able to practice the skills, and it'll be a group coaching session. I will be in there helping you see your brain, helping you reinforce the tools. So, what other questions do you have for me? I just have a few minutes. So nice to see. So by the way, so nice to see all of you on here. I love seeing my current clients. I love seeing new clients. I love seeing new people to me. So welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. What other questions do you have? So thank you. The other thing that I also have for my masterminders is they will have a Facebook group that they will be able to work. I had a very interesting experience today in my other group. One of the clients did her own thought model, and she shared it with the group to get feedback. And another client, she just messaged me. She said, I've been really, really struggling with this one thing. And when I saw so-and-so's, when I saw her model that she shared in the group, it changed everything for me. So there is a lot of power in learning something together. Now, have any of you ever grown a garden? And when you grow the peas, you have to put the stakes up, and you have to, line it up, and those peas will grow. And I remember my husband, his first posting was in a very rural place, and we would go to this farm, and he had a plane. And so we'd go to the farm, and the kids could play, and they were really nice people. And he had a field
of course, he was surrounded by a field, and I was like, "Oh, what are you growing?" He said, "I'm growing peas." And I was like, "You're growing a whole field of peas? Like, how did that work?" And it was so fantastic. I went and I looked at the peas, and literally all of the peas, they have the little tendrils that go around, and all of the peas literally just tendrilled themselves, connected themselves to all the other peas. And so the entire field of peas, they all just learned to connect with each other, and they just all grew together, like basically like holding hands. And so when I think about this team of 15 women, so I'm capping it at 15 because I want to be able to give them the attention that they need at this level. I think of them linking hands, and they are just going to grow and really elevate their lives. That is amazing to me. And I want you to think about this question. Do you believe you're living the life that you're meant to live? So when you were back at 7 and 8 and 10, even 15, 16 years old, and you dreamed about the life that you wanted, are you living that life now? And if you aren't, why aren't you? When did you stop dreaming? When did you stop thinking, oh, won't that be so fun? Wouldn't that be amazing? And if you think, I've already done all the things that I wanted to do, I want to invite you to just really think about what more could you do? Could you contribute more? Could you mentor? Could you, like, what could you create to leave this world better than you found it? When I used to go hiking with my kids, I'd say the trail, I say the rule was we always had to leave the trail better than we found it. So when you think about your life, how do you want to leave this world better than how you found it? And that is what I'm offering in this program. So if you haven't joined my Love Yourself In program, you got to sign up. You got to claim your spot. I'm already selling spots for that. So you can sell. I mean, you can buy right now. You can like get in the spot. And in fact, just because I want to, if you decide you want to buy today in my Love Yourself In program, I will let you, I'll open the portal to my content that I've created. There's like 8 classes in there so that you can have 2 months ahead of time to just go in there, take advantage of them. There's time management, there's intermittent fasting, there's the model, there's a hormones class, there's losing 2 pounds a week class. It's amazing. So as a bonus, you can, if you sign right now, today, that's it, like till tonight at midnight, you can have that bonus. It'd be so fun. And that's $3,000. And then you're on your way to qualifying to be in my mastermind. And by the way, this mastermind is never going to be at this price again. Okay. Any other questions? Do I do one-on-one coaching? I have 3 spots open for one-on-one coaching. It's very, it doesn't happen very often that I have those spots. So if you are interested, I do have a few options, a few spots open. The Love Yourself Thin program, it will be capped also, because I want to make sure that I can give all that I can give. Oh, and then one other bonus, just because I want to help those 15 women in my Love Yourself Thin program, they do have access to Marco Polo, where they can access me and they can share, like verbally share. Sometimes it's difficult to write everything. And so to have that verbal ability, that is something that I will offer for the mastermind. All right. I am now going to go to my Instagram. We are doing the Canadian, for those of you who like Instagram, and there's a Canadian trunk show, it's called, and there's a bunch of Canadian quilters, and we are actually interviewing each other today. So I'm